or a week and a half ago. And then last night I said, well, everybody's talking about civil war, and people, even conservatives, are saying, well, it's not really political, and you don't even know who the good guys are and the bad guys, and it's not really clear. So I said, well, I don't believe Hollywood puts out any big budget, especially this director who's a big globalist, unless it's got their message. So I go to the movie, and spoiler alert, I'm going to tell you what's in it. 30 seconds in, it shows a Trump-style president who comes off as disingenuous and slimy, lying about how the United States of America is winning the war. And I lean over and I say, it's going to all be about assassinating and killing Trump and driving him from power. And she says, how do you know that? And I said, I'll tell you after the show, but they're pre-programming that even if Trump gets elected, they're going to trigger a race war, civil unrest. They're taking the power. They've introduced legislation of the military, which is a coup itself, away from the executive branch. This is going to be the military turning against Trump and removing him. Then it shows a bunch of refugees and illegal aliens and people, and they're out covering it. And the journalist, of course, the liberal journalist, photojournalists are the heroes. I lean over, and she goes, I know the journalists are the heroes, the mainline journalists. And I said, yeah, watch. Somebody's going to attack this group of illegal aliens with the UN handing out goods, because it's UN NGOs. If you look on the vest they're wearing, baby blue, it happens throughout the movie a bunch. And then a person runs in with an American flag, a big American flag, and suicide bombs them and almost kills the journalist, the photojournalist. And I lean over and I go, the president is still, quote, for America. That's Trump. That person just suicide bombed. Notice they had American flag. It only happens over like 2 seconds. Boom, American flag, suicide bomb. And then it's tedious worship of the journalist. They're so moral. The New York Times journalist is the savior, the old black man. The older woman is the answer, and she's got the young girl who idolizes her. And there's weird lesbian-esque scene of her putting on a dress later, and the girl looking at her and her looking at her. I mean, it's just loaded with crap. And they drive through the country trying to get to the front lines of Charlottesville, where the Western forces, it's an American flag with 2 stars in the blue, have been stopped by the United States of America. And you still don't know who the good guys are and bad guys. Of course, we know. It's the bad guys of the United States of America. It's got to be defeated. It's got to be taken down. And then you start noticing all the soldiers, when you just get little glimpses of the United States of America, are white. All of them. And I'll get to that in a moment. But they go through these little towns where everything seems nice. Everything seems good, but everybody's white. And they go into this little store and they go, don't you know a civil war is going on? They say, we like to ignore it and pretend it's not happening in the small town. And the journalist, the young girl and the older woman, keep saying, yeah, our families are in Colorado or they're in Missouri. They're on their farms pretending like nothing's happening. And when they say that, the evil white people like it, but it's all very subtle. Then they go into another town that's got some bigger buildings, and it's white men in traditional U.S. Army outfits, gear, whose uniforms are proper, battling Hispanics, Asians, and blacks with a few white people. And when they capture the white men, they line them up and machine gun them. And there's this scene with a Che Guevara guy with a heavy machine gun just killing them and shooting their dead bodies up and just And then they go to another town and their buddy catches up with some other journalists. They drive past them. They go, where are they? They run into them a few miles up the road. Their car is empty. The doors are open. They're Toyota Sequoia. They're following them in a big Ford older, not Expedition, one of those really huge things that Ford had for a while but discontinued 10 years ago. The big old giant white truck. Excursion. So they go down this hill and there's these white guys loading all these dead brown people. There's still a few whites in the pile in the mass grave. And then the white guy kills the 2 Chinese reporters because they're not Americans. So that's that Soros fetish when they tried a few years ago to say there's white on Asian crime wave, when statistically that is the lowest crime in America is white on Asian on the FBI statistics. So the rarest crime is white on Asian. The per capita most common crime is black on Asian, not blaming blacks. It's just, it's there. And so because they're Asian, they're executed and thrown in the mass grave. But the old black man that stayed behind, the New York Times reporter, he drives the excursion over the white supremacist and kills him, knocks the young white girl into the pit of dead bodies. She climbs out, they drive away. But an evil white supremacist runs around and shoots bullets into the truck and wounds the old black man, who dies later. There's another small town scene where the small town's the bad guys. They're all white people. And then they get into D.C. And the Western forces have 10-to-1 superiority. All the Apache helicopters, they're just killing all these troops. Amazing battle scenes. I mean, let me tell you, the movie's worth it to watch it if you know what you're watching. Just for the last 30 minutes, it is really well done. One of the best war scenes I've seen. I was on the edge of my seat. I mean, I'm not going to lie, the film's well done. A little tedious the first half, worshiping, the journalist. All white people. And then all of a sudden, you see this black female sergeant, and they're about to get through this fortress wall around the White House, and she's in command. I lean over to my wife and I go, she will kill the president. And she goes, how do you know? And I don't usually talk to her movies, but I'm whispering and go, well, notice the black man before he died said the president's going to go down. He's like all these other dictators like Ceausescu and Hitler. So they're telling you. So the black woman storms through all these white Secret Service agents who are old white men. And there's the image of Secret Service agents being just slaughtered by the Western forces. And they go in, and the president's writhing, saying, oh, help me, don't kill me. And they've been ordered to kill him. And the Hispanic journalist says, wait, don't do it yet. I want a quote from this coward. And the president says, please don't kill me. He goes, that'll do. And they all smile as the U.S. military, the black woman, shoots him in the chest and head, and they take photos and pose with his dead body. So, Trump's a white supremacist. The small towns are evil. The whites have all got to be killed unless they're collaborating. And I already knew for the first 30 seconds that was what was going to happen. And I didn't read spoilers. I didn't research it. I was like, yeah, it's going to be propaganda. $300+ million budget. I just, wasn't even going to watch it. But there's a scene right before the invasion of D.C. begins where the cities are blown out and everything's ugly and dead bodies everywhere, but it shows a beautiful black helicopter with missile launchers at dawn flying over beautiful Virginia hills. And then it lands, and there's beautiful Western forces flags with the 2 stars, and this huge, beautiful military of black, white, Hispanic, old, young, and they take lovingly the dead body of the New York Times reporter, and everything is just beautiful and crisp and blue skies, and these are the good guys. And they go into D.C., and they blow up the Lincoln Memorial and the Jefferson Memorial, and they blow up buildings with American flags on them, and American flags are falling in fire. But there's a new America, the anti-white America. And the black woman charges in there and kills Trump. And then the military poses with his dead body for 3 minutes of different shots of the dead body of the president, like he's Mussolini being posed with. And everything's happy, and the journalists are there and just relish the killing of Trump. And the average conservative publication thought, well, this is a good change. This isn't political. The hell it wasn't. And so then that leads us to this. Is the overhead shot still broken? No, it's been broken since it starts to go. Oh, there it is. So here's the Wikipedia on it. And if you'll read, any of these disinformation, no one knows if it's political. It's not political. The director made sure to not make it political. The moment I heard it a month ago, this was about to come out in pre-propaganda promotion, it's not political. The director that wrote it doesn't want it to be political. I knew right then, because they know you're already waking up. They know that you're aware of stuff and that Hollywood's collapsing. So their new thing is this is not political. You should go see it. Nothing you get from the Wikipedia has any reference to what really happens. Meanwhile, hundreds of articles a week and university studies and FBI reports that there's about to be a race-based civil war in America. And there's going to be new January 6th that are race-based, which it wasn't. And all hell's about to break loose, and America's going down. And they've introduced legislation in Congress and the Senate to withdraw the power of domestic military and the Insurrection Act from the president, which is a coup against the Constitution and executive branch of the people, because they think Trump's going to win, but then when he's president-elect, there's going to be giant uprisings that don't let him become the president. Yeah, there's Politico. The threat of civil breakdown is real. Here's LA Times. Metro News. Second U.S. Civil War becoming increasingly plausible as more insurrections likely, say major government-funded university study. Meanwhile, the reality is Dr. Phil's saying they're going to use lockdowns and viruses for control as well. See, they're targeting everybody, but they're branding this as fighting the white supremacists. So it's everywhere. And they know exactly what they're doing.